Hey guys, for today's video we are going to be doing a tutorial with one of my favorite palettes by Morphe, which is the Dare to Create palette. I don't know about you guys, but lately I have been on an organizational and decluttering kick. I think it's because I've been watching way too many of those minimalist videos on YouTube, and it's kind of been like becoming something I have wanted to do. Like, I don't want to be like a minimalist, but like I want to declutter and like, you know, out with the old and with the new type of thing. And because of that, I have been going through my makeup collection and rediscovering products and, you know, like either giving things away or like putting it in my bin of I need to use, and one of them is the Dare to Create palette. I don't know if you guys are like this too, but I purchased my Dare to Create palette and I really liked it, but then I like put it away and then I kind of forgot about it, and I got too like focused on like the newer launches and all of that, and because of that my palette was collecting dust. And I think about like a week and a half ago I rediscovered it, and I have been literally obsessed with it ever since, and because of that I wanted to share with you guys another tutorial using it. Every time I grab this palette I always question why I put it down, because you can do so much with it. You get like all these like cool kind of like grungy blue shades, you get these really cool kind of moss greens, you get that really cool like fiery orange and then the raspberry next to it, and you get so many neutral shades as well. But yeah, so with that said, if you would like to see how I did this look, then just stay tuned on watching. So the first thing I'm going to do is prime my eyelids using my absolute favorite primer, which is the Too Faced Shadow Insurance. So once you get the primer applied, I am just going to take a skin tone colored eyeshadow on this Real Techniques medium shadow brush, and then just lightly dust this over to primer just to get rid of some of the tackiness. Personally for me, I like setting my eyeshadow primer. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I just feel like I get a really nice blend when I do it, so I just tend to do it because of that. Literally every time I hold up the Dare to Create or the James Charles palette, I always feel like I'm going to stab myself in the neck right here, just because the palette's so big it's hard to hold up in frame. But the first shade I am going to go into is Snatched, which is this really fiery kind of shimmery shade, and I am going to go in with a JS6 brush by Morphe. So with Snatched, I am going to apply it into my crease and blend it upwards towards my brow. Since we are using a fluffy brush, it should help kind of knock off some of that shimmer in the shadow, because I kind of want this shadow to be more of a satin or a matte, and by using a fluffy brush it kind of helps kind of get rid of all that shimmer that is in the shadow. And I'm bringing the shadow up pretty high too, kind of below my brow bone just a little bit, so I can kind of blend things downwards, but I still want it pretty high up. And I'm also using the shadow to round out my outer V. If you were like me and when blending out your eyeshadow you got all these kind of harsh edges just from being a little bit messy, I'm just going to take a little bit more of that skin tone colored eyeshadow from earlier on that Real Techniques medium shadow brush, and I'm just going to run it across the edges of this shadow. This will help really kind of blend things in and give us that like little gradient effect. I also want to mention when I do blend out the edges, I keep my brush vertically, I do not keep it horizontally, and I find that this just helps to get a little bit better of a blend and to help give me a little bit more control. I mean, you could always do it the other way. I just find that sometimes when I do it the horizontal way that I can kind of bring the shadow down a little too far, but when I keep it vertically, it's just kind of like the brush is kind of clipping the edge of the eyeshadow to blend it out, and I just found this a little bit easier for me. But you can always do it the other way too. There's no right or wrong way to do this. So the next shade I am going to go into in the Dare to Create palette is this raspberry shade called Create, and I am going to go in with a Morphe M507 brush. And then with Create, I am just going to heavily apply it into my crease as well as in my outer V. With this palette, I really wish that they had more like berry tones in it or like fiery reds, because like when you look at this palette, like it's so neutral and so many shades look so similar. I wish that they would have added, you know, like more colors in this kind of like range, because these two, the Create that we're using right now and the one that we just used, are just so pretty, but there's like barely any like warm kind of reds in here or like oranges. I just wish that they would have kind of expanded like this little area, kind of like how they did with like the blues and the greens. Like they just have like a couple. I wish that there was maybe like 3 of them or something, because it just would have made this palette so much better. At least in my opinion, because I just love these two and I think they have a beautiful formula at that. So once you get Create applied, I am just going to go in with a little bit more of Snatched right on the edge of Create, just to get things a little bit more fiery, because I feel like it's just kind of getting a little too raspberry, and I still really want like this orangey red kind of aspect to the look. This palette is literally just so huge. But the next shade I am going to go into is Forever right here, which is kind of like a purpley brown shade, and I am going to go in with this Luxie 231 small tapered blending brush. And then with Forever, I'm just going to add it directly into my crease just to add more definition. Don't worry if the shade gets onto your lid, because we will be cutting the crease. but you just want to keep it into the crease too, because these darker shades will really kind of deepen up the look, and we just wanted to add dimension. We don't want it to overpower the look. And then also with Forever, I am taking it on this outer V, and I'm really kind of packing it kind of inwards because I want a little bit more depth in this area as well. And this will also help when we're blending out the cut crease. While I blend out my eyeshadow, I just want to talk to you guys, but yesterday I went to Sephora. My mother and I, we went shopping just because like we didn't go for any particular reason, and I actually got to go to Sephora, and I never go to Sephora. Like for me, like Sephora is a really far distance and I have to drive there. It's just a big pain in the butt. I probably only go to Sephora maybe like 2 or 3 times a year, if that. Normally I just buy things online, and then if I don't like it, then I kind of get stuck with it. But I got to go and I'm like super excited. I got to swatch like the Fenty concealer, and I looked at the Born This Way foundation. I also got a sample of it. I was looking at the shade Cloud and it looks so pretty. And I also got a sample of the Tatcha, I think it's the Violet Radiance Vitamin C mask. I'm not too sure. If I'm wrong, I will put the name like in the video right here. But that mask is so nice. I tried the sample out yesterday when I got home. Like legit, that mask made my skin so baby soft. I was so impressed with it. I just went and grabbed my little samples just so I knew what I was talking about. So yeah, I got a sample of the Born This Way foundation in the shade Cloud, which I'm really excited to try because my skin has been so dry lately. And then I also got a sample of the Tatcha Pure Cleansing Oil, which I'm really excited to try too. Because I really like my First Aid Beauty Cleanser. Like I think it's really nice, but my skin, like as you can see, like it's just been acting like crazy. After I tried out the Morphe foundation and the concealer, my skin has been just going crazy. And I mean, like I haven't even used like new foundations, primers, like nothing. And my skin has just been just irritated and really like red and inflamed. And it's been only since I tried that foundation and the concealer, so I have no idea what happened, but my skin has just been awful ever since. I don't know about you guys, but like my biggest goal right now is to like figure out a skincare regimen that like really works for my skin, because I'm honestly just not happy with how it looks, and I'm not really like the most confident about it, and I just don't like how it looks in photos. I feel kind of weird when I'm like filming tutorials and I have, you know, all of this kind of situation and all of that. But I don't know, like that's my goal right now, is just to figure out like my skin and like what works for it. And I know like my best friend, she's like totally into Tatcha. Like that's her like absolute like favorite brand right now that she's always talking to me about. And I just want to like figure out like products that work for me and like what doesn't, and how to just make my skin look how I want it to look. I don't know if you guys are like that too, but like skincare for me is like one of those things like I know nothing about. Like I try to like figure things out and like try to research, and it's just like what people like recommend to me and like what like online things I read, like they don't work for me, and I just need to like figure out like what does. And honestly, another thing is I just don't want to wear as much foundation anymore. Like I love a good full coverage foundation. Like don't get me wrong, you guys know me. I wear like 2 to 3 pumps of Kat Von D every time I do my makeup for, you know, like YouTube or Instagram and stuff like that. But I don't know, I just would rather, you know, have nicer skin where I don't have to wear as much foundation and just be like happier and be able to wear like the dewy, like, you know, skin-like looking foundations and not be like, oh, you can see all my texture through it, oh my gosh, you can see like all my redness. Like I don't know, like I just want to be happier with my skin and not have to worry and rely on makeup to like feel better about it, if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys are like that too, but, and I'm sorry if I'm rambling about it, but it's just kind of been on my mind lately. Off camera, I am going to cut my crease with this new L'Oreal Infallible concealer. This one is the full wear one, and I got mine in the shade Porcelain, and I am going to cut it with this BH Cosmetics flat shader brush. So once the concealer of the cut crease is 100% dry, I am now going to go in with Forever on a Real Techniques smudging brush. I'm really just packing it on this concealer line. I don't really want to bring it inwards, I just want to get rid of this harsh line from cutting the crease. So the next shade I am going to go into in the palette is this matte blue shade called Indigo. With this Shayna B. Miami shadow brush, I'm just applying this literally right on top of kind of this Forever shade and a little bit over as well, just to kind of blend the two together as well as give us that pop of blue. And I'm really like packing the shadow on too. I'm not like going back and forth because I really want it to be super intense and true to color in the pan. So with Indigo, I'm only bringing it up to where my pupil is when I look forward, because I don't want to bring it in any farther because I want to add like a shimmer there, and if I bring it in too far and add that shimmer, it'll really like close the eye, which I do not want. For the inner half of my eye, I am going to dip into this blue moon shade out of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Moonchild Glow Kit. The Dare to Create palette does not have any like really light shimmer shades, so I'm just going to dip into this instead. And then with Blue Moon, I'm going to apply wherever this concealer is showing, and I'm just going to go a little bit over that indigo shade from earlier. And when applying Blue Moon, I'm really making sure that I am packing the shadow on just so we get the true pigmentation and get all of the shimmer on the lid. So here is where I'm at right now with the look, and then off camera, I'm just going to apply the rest of my face. So here is where I'm at right now with the look, and then for the lower lash line, I'm just going to take whatever is left on that Luxie 231 small taper blending brush and just run it right underneath the lower lash line. And then for my inner corner highlight today, I am going to go in with my Ofra Cosmetics Pillow Talk highlighter, and I am going to use a Luxie pencil brush. But yeah, so here is the finished look. I really love how this one turned out. I really like raspberries and blues together. I think they're just a really beautiful combination. Not to mention, I really wanted an excuse to use my Dare to Create palette because I actually really enjoyed this palette. I wish that more people were talking about it because you can seriously do so much with it. I literally just removed my lashes and was just about ready to remove the rest of my makeup and was like, I think I'm forgetting something. And that is my outro. And I looked back and I was definitely right. So in the comments down below, let me know what your thoughts are on this look, as well as let me know what your favorite eyeshadow palette is of right now. And as always, I would really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button down below. And if you would like to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram account is @lethal_kitten. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And until next time, bye. And now I can remove my lashes. Ooh. Fancy.